Hello, Hockey World. It is May. Let's call it Thursday, May 15th, 2025.
I'm Luke Ravitz.
And I am Eklund. You're watching Hockey BuzzCast on HockeyBuzz.com. This is the podcast that comes to you on random days during the week, but you have to pay attention to my website, and we'll be getting more scheduled as we get into the regular rumor season coming up soon. But today we are lucky to have Luke, our college/youth hockey expert, I'm going to say, because you're just out of the youth hockey program and you went really far. And I get more questions. The most questions I get out of anybody, out of anything, it's funny from parents is like, they're either like saying, you should talk my son up to like GMs or whatever, or I get that a lot, or I get like, what does my son need to do to make it? He's in this program and stuff like that. I really don't know the answers to those questions, like as much as because I haven't been through it like you have. And I know it's a very complex system.
Yeah, it's very complicated, but
doesn't seem anything like the baseball and football, where people are just like, it's like, you go to Pop Warner football, you get up, you go to the States or whatever. That's the thing. Yeah. So we'll get into that for sure. But we're going to first talk about a little bit about the games last night because they were definitely at 100%. Oh, by the way, thanks in the chat room. I'm feeling a lot better. Rumors of my death are greatly exaggerated. I actually had 4 or 5 people call one of my friends, Kevin Allen, who's been on the podcast before, and he's like, people think you're dead. And I'm like, that's crazy. I'm fine. I just I was driving my scooter and I got hit by a motorcyclist who was passing in the right lane and got a concussion, broke my clavicle here, broke a couple ribs, which feel like I break them every time I sneeze again. So anyway, that's where I'm at right now, but I'm okay. And thanks for the well wishes. Appreciate it. So last night's games, here we are. They were 2 of the most like games I was most looking forward to. Like this is like going to be something. And the first game was really not that. Like we have a writer who wrote today, named Colleen, who's a new Leafs writer that's going to be working with us. Hopefully, he wrote his audition piece today, and it's up in my spot. And he said, "Who is to blame?" So, who is to blame? Do you think for what happened last night to the Toronto Maple Leafs?
It's
a hard question, I know.
To be honest with you, probably coaching. I love Berube, but I just feel like the team just wasn't fully there at all the whole game. Like I've seen clips of Paul Maurice, like he's getting his team on the bench, like ready, pumped up, motivated, and like to be honest, like there's no camaraderie right now at the Leafs. Like earlier in the playoffs, they're dead right now. And they looked dead the whole game. Like I was saying with my dad last night, he was like, if the Panthers score the first goal, the building will go silent and the game will be over from there. Yeah. So and that's what happened. Ekblad got the early one, and they just kept piling them in. I guess you could blame Woll a little bit, but when your defense isn't really helping you out, like there's not much you can do. So
no, there isn't much, and I think that I think that the team's definitely more. I think Stolarz is a more balanced, maybe not as spectacular, but more like steady and back there. And I think the Stolarz was a big reason why they were so consistent this year because they know what he is, and he makes great saves once in a while, but he definitely never, his attitude doesn't go up and down. Like, it's really important with the Toronto Maple Leafs goalie. It's like, you got to be like that. Berube's like that.
You got to finish.
No, Berube's like that too, but
I also think it has to do with like, maybe Brendan Shanahan as well. Like they've made the second round one time in 20 years.
Yeah.
Like they have the team to do it. They have the talent. Like I don't know.
It's a mixed thing, It's a mixed thing with hockey. It's like not about talent all the time. It's about the Panthers don't have as much offensive firepower as Toronto for sure, but they're a much better team. Like and you saw at least what you saw last night. And the first 2 games, Toronto looked great, and this is what I think. And Colleen, the guy who wrote guy who stole my thunder on this. So if you read his article, I was thinking the same thing, but he said it a little better than I did. So I feel like they were outcoached. I agree with you. I think that was the problem. Although you can't Matthews has 2 goals in 11 games, that's, but that again, to me, the problem is I'm a firm believer in playing your game. And I feel like Toronto did that in the first series. With Ottawa after, but in this series, they did in the beginning of this series, but since then they've been trying to hit everybody and then they've been trying to run around and make these, and they've been playing Florida's game, which they're never going to beat Florida at.
No, exactly. I mean, Matthew Tkachuk got inside Nylander, and I wouldn't say they got inside their head, but I mean, you saw at the end of the last game in Florida with Domi hitting. Who was it? Was it Nikola?
Barkov.
It was I forget who hit behind. Yeah, but I mean, since that, like, I think it kind of lit a fire under Florida, and they just wanted to prove that they were the better team, and they have so far in the later part of the series. So.
Yeah, I agree, and I completely, and I have a really interesting stat for you that I worked out a couple years ago, and I gotta find this article so I work it every couple of years. I go back and I do it's a ton of research and way too much work. Probably should get an intern to do it. But anyway, what it is this: I go back and I've checked since the new NHL, which I call since the year that they missed, since the lockout, like 2005. And I see teams that have won a playoff game by 4 or more goals. Surprisingly enough, that something like 83% of the time they lose the next game in the playoffs. Like there's a which is, it doesn't seem, it is very hockey. It's not very sports related, but hockey is that way where, like the more desperate team tends to win. Yeah. And if you get comfortable, you beat a team really easily and you don't show up with that desperation, you're definitely playing behind the 8 ball. So that's why that happens. Right. And so Toronto they shouldn't think of themselves as out of it. They lost 6-1, but the first couple games, they're really in it. Right. But they got to play their own game. I mean, they got to play their game. That's like the thing.
Yeah. Next game is going to be probably the biggest game in their franchise and however long the expectations are that, I mean, I remember after they beat the Senators, Leafs fans were saying they were going to win the cup. It's their year.
Oh, right away.
Right away.
And the Senators,
obviously they got a nice start, but I mean, it's not over till it's over. And you got to beat the champs to be the champs. We'll see.
And they got going for them if you want to be like, I have a friend who wants to write an article on Hockey Buzz because he calls himself the hockey optimist, and he's like always finds like something good, and he's like not only your stat about the teams losing, coming back and winning the next game, he said, but also the fact is that the Panthers have shown even this Panthers, even last year's Stanley Cup Panthers, remember they were up 3-0 on Edmonton, right, and they went to Game 7, so. There's hope there, but it has to change quickly, and it has to be there's such a seriousness about that town.
Yeah.
It just works against them so much. It's like
we'll see what happens this offseason.
Yeah.
Some of their guys, Marner, JT, Nyes, he's an RFA, but he still has to be re-signed. So I mean,
they can't keep them all.
Yeah, he's their number one priority.
Yes,
has to be, and I don't know with Marner. I mean, it's his hometown.
Well, it's Marner and Tavares too, because Tavares
and Tavares' hometown. Both of them.
I mean, Tavares gave him a discount before, but Tavares has had like almost 100 points. Like he had a really good season.
Yeah, he's been playing pretty good.
So you can definitely get more money somewhere else. But I think that, in my opinion, they get Tavares for less. They get Nyes done. And they let Marner go. I think that's what has to happen. Like I don't.
I really don't see Marner staying there. I think he's done with the Toronto media, even though I mean it's his hometown, but it kind of drove him out a little bit.
They asked him to waive his no trade clause. That's like a death sentence. Like that, you're never going to get a player to take a discount after you ask him to waive his no trade. It's just not going to happen.
Exactly.
And then the other game before we get into Utah hockey last night was the Edmonton game, which was a better game by far. And kept us up way too late, as hockey tends to do. But I made it for that game. I made it up. I used to be like never fall asleep at all during a playoff game, but now I'm just freaking too old. So enjoy the fact that you can stay up all the time on those games, because last year.
I wanted the game. I was kind of getting tired too, but I'm glad Kapanen jammed it in there.
Yeah,
I mean it's not his first big overtime goal, even though it's his first. I believe it was his first game this year in the playoffs. I guess he just had I remember back 2016 when he had the golden goal for Finland.
Right.
So some players just have that clutch goal scoring ability, even though he hasn't played yet, and he found a way. And
I was really happy for him. I have a history with him actually. So are you from Cherry Hill too? Like you were from Cherry Hill, right?
Yeah,
right. So you familiar with Wilderness Acres? the area where there's acres in Cherry Hill. It's like on Springdale. It's
yeah.
Right. It's like really fancy, big houses. Bobby Clark lived back there for a while and had a Flyers shaped pool back there that I actually worked one summer cleaning. So my in-laws lived back there, and they had a pool and in the back of their house, and behind the pool was the Kapanen's house. Like, so it was like Sammy Kapanen. Sammy Kapanen and his two kids, right? So once in a while, I would go over there because they were playing street hockey, and I would see them playing street hockey. I'm like, hey, I'll come over. And so I would play goalie for them. These little kids, they were like 5 and 6 years old.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really cool.
I know them from back then.
His where I used to play youth hockey, which I'll explain about it later. His banner's hung up in the rink with all the other alumni.
Is it?
So it's pretty cool. Yeah, he played for Comcast for 1 year, I think.
Right.
But it was a cool goal for him to score. And Edmonton's moving on. So
I know that's the thing, right?
Vegas, but they just got outmatched the whole series pretty much. And goaltending was a huge issue for them.
Yeah. So. Oh yeah. I mean, Skinner showed up in a couple games, but I think that the reality is that's an example of what Toronto needs to do, right? Edmonton in the first 2 games against LA didn't play their game.
Yeah.
And fell down 2-0, and then decide we're just going to try to outscore the team, which is the other team. We're just going to go offense. That's what we have. We have speed and offense. And since they did speed and offense, it's not technically the way you should win in the playoffs all the time, but
I mean, they've been getting their D-man up in the play, and they've been scoring. Like Nurse has been scoring a little bit, which they need. Bouchard obviously is a force on that power play.
Big time.
So, I mean, tonight's game is going to be huge. It's probably like the most anticipated game because, I mean, the President's Trophy champs have their backs against the wall. So you could see a Dallas Edmonton series rematch of last year.
Right.
So it's going to be a great game. So
it's going to be a great game. And
I hope Winnipeg wins just so we can get some extra hockey in.
Yeah, me too.
There's 2 3-1 games tonight. So
I know, right? And I also like when Canadian teams stay in it because it's better for the website, first of all.
Yeah.
It's also it's more fun, to have the opportunity for Canada to win a cup again. That's what I want to see. Edmonton's their only hope right now, unless Winnipeg turns us around. So or Toronto turns it around. Obviously, they're still in it too.
They're
both still in it, but they're both really up against it.
Yeah.
So
I don't see a way. Maybe Toronto can get some magic because they're down 3-2, so it's not as bad.
3-2, right? It seems like it's 4-0 already, but it's not. It's 3-2.
I just think Dallas has had complete control of the whole series.
Yeah, and man, the goal and what they're getting from Hellebuyck on the road.
Hellebuck's been brutal this playoffs, and Otter's been proving he could be the number 1 American goalie. So
right. I know. I agree with you, and it's funny that those two guys are the number 1 and number 2 right now.
Otter's always been playing since he's joined the league. He's always been great in the playoffs. I remember that one game against the Flames.
Oh, I remember that.
When Gaudreau had the OT goal, and Otter had, I forgot how many saves he had. It may have been 50, maybe, if I'm wrong, 40, 50.
Yeah, right. Well, I'm not sure. Yeah, but
I mean, Otter's always come up huge in the playoffs for the Stars, and I mean they're due. So they've been here since I think 10, 15 years. They've been in the playoffs. They
are due, and they've got a lot of good players. And I got lucky to meet Maverick Bork a couple weeks ago when he was still in Austin playing for the farm team. He's a good kid, and I think he's going to be a real power.
He's a high draft pick. Yeah,
real high draft pick. Real fast player. All right, so let's get to youth hockey for a second because I get more questions about youth hockey than anything else. I told you this before we went on the air. I hope it was before we went on the air. I think it was. Otherwise, I'm repeating myself. But I get a lot of questions about youth hockey all the time.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just parents saying, what course should my kid take if he wants to be an NHL player, or my kid's really good. Could you tell the scouts about him, that kind of thing? And I've learned a bunch of things about it, but I've never been involved like you have. I do know the one thing that I think that I'd always tell them at least is that there's always levels. That there's levels of everything, right? And you found this to be true. You were telling me the other day you played against Hagen's, right?
Yeah. We lost 11-1 that game, and after that game, me and my dad still talk about that game to this day. And that's when I realized, there's actually levels to this. These kids, I think I'm pretty good, and maybe I'm still trying to grind out and make a junior D1 team, but these kids know they're going to D1 and know they're going to NHL. That's what they have. They have that mentality and the confidence.
Yeah.
And to be honest, there's no right path for anyone. Everyone's path is different. For example, this kid, Maddox Schultz, who was just selected first overall by the Regina Pats in the WHL. And last year he was playing AA hockey in Canada. He had like 130 points and then played for the Regina Pats AAA team, U18, and as a 15, 16-year-old, and had like 96 points in the regular season and just got exceptional player stats, just like that. So like you never know who's watching you. You can't really force anything. Like you just have to keep staying at your game and keep working hard, and someone will notice you. Like there was a bunch of games and I played that after the game, my coach said a few scouts were there and like I played pretty good. And honestly, it's kind of better not knowing who's watching you. You just have to you just want to play your game. You don't want to like focus on who's watching you, because then that's going to affect your head and your game. So
it's such a team sport, right? It's such a team sport, and at the end of the day,
and also like they're not always looking for like what you're doing when you have the puck. It's when you don't have the puck. That's what my coaches have always said. Like
true. Like
whether it be back checking or just like your overall attitude too. Like if it's like a stupid penalty or you're yelling at your teammates, it's all the little things, and that's what they're looking at.
I can vouch for that because I've sat in the press box with a lot of scouts, over the years. They're watching guys who have reached at least that level, or maybe it's a preseason game and they're watching some guys who might get there, And even then, they are definitely watching. Many have told me they're watching more of what you do when you don't have the puck than when you do. And they say, like, what position are you in? Are you like, if you're a defenseman, right? If you're like helping to alert people where people are, like. No one does that.
Being a communicator on the ice, like yelling for that pass or like, that's what they want. Like you want to be just an overall solid hockey player with being a good teammate, just listening to the coach and just playing your hardest. That's what they're looking for. Yeah. Obviously, they're going to look for the talent, but that's not all of it. So
it can't be all of it because there's a lot of talented people, right? There's a lot of talented players. Like there's a lot of kids that you can play with. A lot of kids who can play with some of these, like the Hughes brothers or what have you. They can play. They can go out there and not be embarrassed by it. But there's a different level. There's a different thing there.
Yeah, and like I don't know, when I was 8th grade, freshman in high school, when I was like starting to become like a decent hockey player, and like I would see all these kids get invited to these camps or these combines or get drafted by these teams, and like honestly, like looking back, it kind of motivated me just to become better and like try to work my way up. And I had success. It was just like I wasn't feeling it anymore. The love of the game just wasn't the same when I was younger. But I love hockey and like.
And there's no like shame in that. Like I tell parents all the time, it's like your kid doesn't make it to the AHL or doesn't end up playing or whatever. There's no shame in this. Like
exactly. As long as you gave it your all, like there's nothing to be mad at. I mean,
memories that you'll always have. These memories you're always going to have, and you make lifelong friends. I'm still sure you're still friends with people on your team, and stuff like that. It's like that goes on, and it's like, and it's interesting how in America, like how like my friend Eric, who coached you for a bit, he like, I learned a lot of stuff from him and like how, it's serious stuff when you get to the level that you're at. Like you have uniforms that are washed for you or whatever, and they're like hanging up in your stalls when you get there. This is like youth hockey, right?
Yeah. So I mean, once I got to the like 15U and up, like it was all like serious. Like younger than that, like it was just fun, like you weren't worried about any of that, but it was still fun. But just when you came to the rink, you had to be prepared, and it's just something that will always stick with me, though. That kind of work ethic.
I've seen that with what you've done here. Like I've seen that with and I see that with other people I've talked to who played youth hockey or in general. Like that is, you have to be on top of your game. You have to be ready. You have to like eat right. You have to be mentally prepared to do things like that you can't just give up on. Right. One of the biggest things I get all the time is should my kid play other sports as they're playing youth hockey?
100%. I mean,
great.
It helps you so well with your game. You don't think about it though, but the little like things that you do in other sports help translate in hockey. I mean, I played baseball, soccer, basketball when I was younger, and just like the overall movements of the game correlate with hockey. Helps with your just lower body strength, especially with soccer, your cardio. Baseball with upper body, and then basketball just agility. So like you can use those things to help work out your game well. I think I stopped playing most of them when I don't know 7th or 8th grade. I was like 16 years old. So just because hockey was just taking up way too much time, and
that's what happens, right? Because there's hockey all year round at some point.
Yeah,
right?
It's hard when you're at that age to balance everything. So with school, still in school. So, but when you're younger, for sure, like, and you get to meet other people who, I mean, you never know where like they'll go in that sport. So it's kind of cool. Like you see a bunch of these professional athletes, like with Clayton Kershaw and Matthew Stafford. They played baseball together.
Right.
Cool. You never know. So no, 100%.
Tom Brady used to play hockey, and he used to talk about all the players he played with, like as a hockey player. Like, and it's like it's kind of, and I always say, I think that you work different muscles in different sports, so that's always good too. Obviously, different mindset. Like baseball is great for hand-eye. Obviously, it's a hand-eye game, with hitting, and you have to deal with that a lot. So I totally agree with you, and it's easy to get sucked into it because I had a daughter who was pretty high level soccer too. That's like so it's easy to get sucked into, like, even when you're younger, the 365 days a year hockey thing, because there's so much training out there, and you want to get better, and you think you're going to get better, and there's like and if you can afford it, you want to not if you're a parent, you can afford it, you don't want to take that away from your kids. So it's like you're in that spot, right? But at the end of the day, like and I know Eric always was a big component of this too. My friend was like did Darren play baseball? It's like that was something you had to do, So, and it just makes them better. And Gretzky is also a huge component of it. Has talked about this many times in his life, that players should not just play hockey when they're kids.
It's crucial. It's crucial to the game.
Yeah.
You don't want let's say, what about in the summer when your season's not going on? Like, you can play. There's other stuff you can do to get good exercise, keep you busy, and like it's not bad to be a part of another team. Like you get another perspective.
Right.
Of that, and you translate that to hockey. It's
How political did you find the system going through it? Like, like that's something I also get asked a lot. Like, like political meaning, like coaches' sons or different things that happen and all that. And then, just or somebody who's maybe who's an ex-NHL player or a coach's. Coach that we both know of who had a kid. So there's different things like that, right? So
I mean, I didn't really understand like the politics of the game, really.
Right.
Until like maybe my like 14 or 15 year, once players started getting like advisors and stuff. Which, in my opinion, is very unneeded. I mean, it helps, but like at the end of the day, it can only do so much. Once, let's say they help you get drafted to a junior team. Well, that's all they can do, really. Once you get to that junior team, you still have to make the team.
Right.
They can only do so much.
Oh yeah.
And that's like when I first really got like understanding of the game and that kind of side, but you don't really like focus on it really too much. Like I just went out there and like did the best I could. So
which is all you can do, and then and enjoy yourself, because
that
whole process is something that you'll take with you for your life. It's like that's like a great.
I can't get it back. So like. I'm glad I did what I could.
And now you can take those skills in other directions, or whatever, and obviously you're working at a hockey website, like it's like there's things that happen like along the way that lead you just to fun places, and that to me is something that is really vitally important. And I said to my daughter too, who could have gotten a scholarship at Lehigh where she went to, but instead she said she didn't want to play Division I. She wanted to go pre-med. She didn't want the pressure of Division I soccer. She's a goalie. And she's like, so she went to the same school, which they still want her to play probably for the team, but she's there, but she just wants she's graduated from now. She's graduated from now. So, but while she was there, she definitely didn't want, and she actually went and tried out for the club team or whatever, just because fun. And the club team cut her. They wouldn't let her on the team, which is hilarious. So that was a little political, she thought. So, there you have it.
And I got drafted in the NCDC my junior year of high school, and to be honest, I didn't even know. Like,
Right.
I got a text from my coach and my high school coach.
What is the NGDC?
What is
that? What is the NGDC?
So the NCDC is a Tier 2 American Junior League.
Okay.
So I mean, it's a great league for development. A lot of the guys go D3, some go D1. But like a lot of them will use that league to maybe get them into the NAL or the USHL, which are two other American leagues.
Yeah.
Which are it's just better hockey. But yeah, I was drafted in like the 12th round. I had no idea until I got those texts and like looked on social media. And like that was really cool to me. Just like my hard work pay off.
Absolutely.
And then after so my senior year of high school, once I was just applying to schools. Like I was still considering doing the junior route, but like at the same time I wanted to go to school.
Yeah.
And yeah, I just like once I got into Penn State, I knew that was the place for me. And I knew they have a great club team. They've won the championship the past couple years in the ACHA. Their goalie actually from last year was called up to the D1 team this year and was the backup.
Oh, wow.
Pretty cool. Yeah. So, I mean, they have a really good pipeline.
Yeah.
And I tried out for the team. I didn't even make it. There was like 400 kids.
It's like Penn State's a serious program, you know? Like,
yeah, exactly. So
you got people from all over the world coming there. Like, they have a Russian goalie for crying out loud. You know, it's like, right? I mean, it's
so it was I'm glad the way I grew up playing. So, I mean, it is what it is. Like I didn't make it D1, but like I'm so happy with.
And that's totally fine. You know, like that's I've told people because parents. I think sometimes parents even take it harder than kids do on that kind of stuff. Like I've coached soccer and I've seen like girls in soccer who like are really upset that they didn't get a scholarship. Or they get offered a scholarship. Like I'm sure like you could have like to like a D3 school or whatever.
Yeah, and that's just my thing. Some people want to go the D3 route or like grind out juniors and play like a lower D1 school, which is perfect. But that's just not what I wanted. And that's what some kids don't want either. Like they don't want to take the grind and whatever. I mean, they just want to go to school, play club hockey, and have fun, which is what I want to do. So
right. And it's
everyone's different. So
everyone's different. I know. Like my daughter's backup for her club team, which was a really good club team in Pennsylvania. They went really far. They played all around the world too. What ended up getting a scholarship at like Jefferson or something like that, like some like college that's like it's a small college, but you know, like she was a good goalie and they brought her in so she didn't have to pay for college, which was great because her parents didn't really have a ton of money, and she went and played there, and now she's like now she's graduated and she's like going to be their assistant coach or something like that. So so that's, you know, but you know, she had you know, they hired and all people, a lot of people know hired these companies that were like, you know, we'll get your name out there, we'll like. You know, and stuff like that. And it's just like I always say to them, I'm like, be careful with that because honestly, if you're good, they'll find you.
Exactly. They'll find you. You're good enough. You'll get it.
It's just gonna happen. Like no one's missing. Like Hagens wasn't like hiring basically.
No.
You know,
they come to him. They all come to him.
Oh, yeah. And then you're in a different situation. And that's not even the easiest thing either. Like that's because he could be the best player at like 15 or 16 in the world. And then and then by the time you could get hurt in college, that happens or whatever, or anything could happen. Yeah. So it's really just like enjoy what you're doing now. I keep telling people enjoy what you're doing now and know that, I mean, you can always play in a men's league or whatever and find a fun group of people.
All roads lead to men's league. So
which is fun. I mean, that's that you're back to like before it was serious, you're back to having like the fun that you had before, you know, which because I never played, I couldn't afford to play competitive ice hockey, but I played in men's leagues and I played street hockey and but I loved the whole thing. So I just thought it was like, because ice hockey when I was younger was really, really crazy expensive. It still is, but back then it was like not a chance type thing. You had to be really, really wealthy because there's only like one arena within like where there's 20 now within the Philadelphia area. There was like one then.
I mean, youth hockey is insane now in the South Jersey area. There's like 10 AAA teams and like 30 Tier 2 teams. So like, I mean, it's growing for sure.
Oh yeah.
I know it's fun to see. Like my junior and senior year, I did a program at the Voorhees Skate Zone where I would like help kids learn how to play, and like these kids are good now. Like I don't like when I was their age, I don't remember being that good. Like these kids can play. So the game's so much faster.
It is.
And it's cool to see. And like
your generation is so much faster than the generation before that because it's like
every generation is getting faster and faster with all the new technology and skates and sticks and everything.
And people misunderstand that too when I say that them like it's faster because it's like really it's about playing faster, not about skating faster. Like,
and the stuff you do off the ice, though. I mean, we would have like off ice workouts before every practice, and like the stuff we did like definitely helped. And like I'm sure when your generation played, they weren't doing that kind of stuff.
No, not at all. Like I was using back when I like my friend was on the CAM programs and stuff like that, and went up to Canada. I got to play one time with them. It was just fun, just as like because he was sick or whatever. It was like a weird thing, and I was a street hockey goalie. I wore his equipment and barely could skate, but it was just kind of like the other thing that I think that is really interesting, and I hear this a lot too, is something I just forgot about for a second. But let me remember myself. Because I was talking about, so I think that I'll remember it in a second. But this is what I was going to say. I've had this argument before, and I don't know if I've had it with you, not a discussion before, but I don't think I've had it with you on the air at least, or even off the air. That I believe that U.S. hockey, the U.S. is below Canada because of the fact of one coaching that's getting better all the time. Because you get like NHL players now that are coaching in the U.S. and that's getting better. And also the other thing is we have so many sports where the better. You agree like the best athlete in football would be amazing in hockey. Like you have that mindset. That's what I always think. Like
I agree 100%.
Like the best athletes are just the best athletes sometimes, and that's the reality. Like, whatever sport they pick.
To that point, like my thing is, I have like a lot of opinions on this with USA Hockey. Like, I think USA Hockey is growing tremendously. Number one, because of the national team development program that was created like 20 years ago, and like. That we're seeing it now, like all these top NHL players, like they've come from like the American players have come from that program, and we're seeing it at the World Junior level. In the past 10 years, U.S. has won 4 or 5 times. And U18s, like we're seeing it. And another reason this is happening is because of COVID. A lot of the Canadian rinks were shut down for over a year. And it definitely hurt. You can see it's hurting the development of Hockey Canada. I don't know. I've been in the past like 5 years, I've noticed this a little bit. And there's no goaltending development in Canada. I mean,
there isn't. I mean, we see it at the NHL level.
We're seeing it. Their number one goalie is Jordan Binnington, which he's great. He's a great goalie, but like he's not a superstar.
No, he's inconsistent, and he's a good pressure goalie, but he's not like what you would call like you wouldn't necessarily want to pay him like $10 million a year because he's not like he's not like a or anything like that.
To this point, Zach in the comments said something about the potential recruiting from CHL players to NCAA, and we're seeing it. So Penn State picked up Luke Misa, who's the brother of top 5 pick Michael Misa. So we got him, and then according to sources, Penn State offered him up to like offered his teammate Porter Martone, who's also going to be a top 5 pick, up to $250K. Nothing was announced yet officially what's happening with that. But I mean, every day I'm on Instagram seeing top CHL guys are going to the NCAA.
That's awesome.
And I just, I think it's great for college hockey. With all eyes in the hockey world are going to be on college hockey. Like it was always like people would watch when like the playoffs would start, and then the Frozen Four. I think college hockey will be like a mainstream type thing in the next 5 years with all these.
It's got all
these national guys are coming now. The best on best hockey, like that's what we want. College hockey,
exactly. And it's got ESPN behind it, which is good.
Exactly. Yeah.
And it's got Buccigross mainly behind it, and he is so freaking important to college hockey. Most people have no idea. Like he's a star, and he has power at ESPN, and has been really. I know him. I've had him on my podcast before. He's like, I really wanted, he was really upset when the NHL wasn't on ESPN anymore because he was on ESPN, and he's like, so he was a champion for that. He was champion for college hockey. listen to him like guys like Weeksy and stuff like that are just
Yeah.
like so
Huge.
that having guys like that calling the games on ESPN gives it immediately like another level.
Yeah, it grows. It's growing the game for sure. And
yeah,
I mean, I'm curious to see what Gavin McKenna, the projected top pick in next year's draft, is going to do. I mean, he's still playing in the CHL playoffs right now, so I'm sure he's not focused on
where's he going.
No one knows yet, but there's been reports: Michigan, Penn State, I think North Dakota. So I mean, who knows? He may stay in the CHL, but I think it'd be cool if he came to NCAA, and like I think he'll get that like star power kind of.
I mean, what's more fun? Think about it. Like if you're on a college campus and you got all the girls are looking at you, on the team. Yeah, you're walking by and you're like stars. Where if you're on a junior team, you're just in a town.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Caden Lindstrom. He's going to Michigan State. What's his name? Malcolm Spence on Erie is going to Michigan.
Wow.
And yeah, so it's going to be a fun year of NCAA hockey next year. Yeah. And I was telling a bunch of people, like, once Big Ten gets this NIL money and college hockey, it's over. Like, Michigan, Penn State, Ohio State, Notre Dame, like all of them, they're just going to throw out all that football money and get these guys from the CHL.
Yeah.
And it's going to be cool. And then BU obviously is getting, it's rumored to get Michael Misa. It's not official yet, but like we'll see what happens with that.
Right. Whether he'll go pro or not, but
yeah, I mean, it's really cool to see the growth.
Yeah, I mean, McKenna is such a special player. Like you can see, he's another level than all the guys we're talking about. Like like he is in that Crosby weird world, like David world, and we haven't seen anybody since like. I don't even think Connor Bedard, I guess, is in that world, but I even think that watching McKenna just in the little bit I've watched him versus watching Bedard when he was at the same level, it seems like McKenna's like above him.
He's great at everything. He's the size, the speed, the skill. I mean, his point streak, I forget, it just ended. I forget how much it was. It might have been like 62 or something.
There's going to be a serious.
Yeah, it was insane.
I mean, he'll jump. If he plays college this year, that'll be the only year he plays college.
100%. And like,
but why not? Why not play it? Like, if I'm like his parents, I'm like, this is such a great experience. You get to go. I mean,
he's going to gain much more exposure as well, and he's playing older guys. He's going to develop more. He's going to get bigger in the weight room wherever he goes.
Right.
What downside does he have? He's probably going to get paid to do it too.
Yeah, and that's the other thing that's just nuts. And for a long time, college hockey wasn't anywhere. And then for a while, it was developing like third and fourth liners really well because those guys would go through 4 years of practice in college hockey and they would be solid. When they came in the NHL, they'd be able to step into their spots. But now it's starting to develop superstars too. So it's like that's the last step. I mean, it's still a star business. Like if you watch, all you have to do is watch the Carolina Hurricanes and Washington Capitals. You listen to Brian Boucher, try to keep the Capitals relevant because the NHL wants Ovechkin name out there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Like, and
all about media and marketing for them. So.
Oh yeah, it's so funny. I know him really well, and I can tell. I can see through everything he's doing, and it's just like so funny. He's like, "Well, the Caps are good. They're still."
Yeah.
It's obvious that the Hurricanes are just so much faster and so much younger.
Mm-hmm.
And like it's just funny. So yeah, this was great, Luke. I really appreciate this, and I'm sure a lot of other people did too. I'm going to keep this as like a evergreen type thing on somewhere on the site where people can go and if they have questions and when I get further questions. And please do. You can email me at eklund@hockeybuzz.com. Just email there. And if I get a question, when we have Luke on to talk college hockey or just talk hockey in general, I can always throw out a question to him too, because it's something that I really don't know about, and you can't get any better than talking to a kid who just went through it. So that's like.
Yeah. And if you have any questions for me as well, like my Instagram and Twitter, both Luke Ravitz 88. So feel free to shoot me a DM if you have any questions. I'll be happy to answer you. So.
Perfect. That's wonderful. All right, man. So enjoy tonight. We have 2 games tonight, right?
Yeah, 2 games.
2 games that could end.
Both could end. Hopefully not.
Wow, that's gonna be crazy.
Yeah.
Remember, without the buzz, folks, it is just hockey. We will talk to you soon.